screened. It's not because of what Chandler did that was so flagrant. You can't adjust to the reaction.
Second on Rose.
On James here, look after the play. A little bit of a wing.
You're a phony. Lakers furious. They thought he was fouled. Oh, excuse me. And it's now overtime.
Oh, somebody pick him up.
As I'm sure you guys know, when it comes to NBA fans, as well as current day NBA players, there's a massive rift between the old school and the new school. And this rift, it's always been there, but now in the 2020s, it's bigger than ever. And for a lot of the current players, what they hate about the old school, they always call them soft, so their era was better, it was tougher, so on and so on. And look, sometimes it can be a tad much, they can overdo it, I understand that. In other cases, they're 100% right and hit the nail on the head. Case in point, with LeBron James. LeBron James recently, out of nowhere, complained about a flight from LA to Milwaukee for a preseason game.
You serious?
If you want to stop being called soft, entitled, and pampered, stop acting soft, titled, and pampered. As these comments, they fit into with heated critiques of old school players about the current NBA. And look, for LeBron specifically being 39 going on 40, him playing the preseason shouldn't be a big deal if he sits. I actually understand it. My problem with LeBron's comments, these comments were made in the first place. You are the face of the NBA, a pillar of the NBA. Some would say the most influential player of all time.
What is that, a new bear?
Having comments like these, it makes you look entitled, pampered, and downright elitist. And compared to past eras flying on luxury planes, that back in the day did not happen. For the majority of NBA teams until the mid-1990s, they were flying coach with civilians. And I think it was the Pistons in the late 80s, they were the first actual NBA team to have a private plane all to themselves. Besides that, every other team, flying coach or flying with civilians. And to kind of contrast LeBron's era in the 2020s to back in the 80s, early 90s, look at the story from Larry Bird from 1986.
Back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland. And of course, we got up for the first flight out. We had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place. Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says, a couple other few choice words, and he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there. And Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Elbert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me? And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we terrorized them. And that was Larry. There was no excuses. I mean, he just played. And I tell you, that was just his competitive nature. But
so stopping Kevin McHale right there. Back in the 1980s, someone like Larry Bird, they could be at the airport for hours on end eating hot dogs, still go on the court and perform, and not complain once. Now in the 2020s, we have NBA superstars complaining about luxury flights from LA to Milwaukee. And look, I can't pinpoint the date, the time, the exact year this changed, but the NBA of the 80s and 90s, during Bird's reign, Magic's reign, up to Jordan, Kobe, all those guys, there was no excuse, no complaining to the public or the fans. You just did your job, played hard, and played through injuries. And looking back at Bird's Celtics team, 86, they played a total of 18 back-to-back games. And of course, Bird played in every single one of them. Boston in 2024, their team had 11 back-to-backs, nearly a 40% decrease in back-to-back games. And despite that, current day players still complain about the schedule, too many back-to-backs, and so on and so on. My overall point is pretty simple. Players in past eras, a much tougher schedule, much more rigid schedule, that wore your body down 10 times faster. Nowadays, players have top-tier everything. The trainers, the travel, the food, they have it all. And why do they have that? These players in the past actually showed up, played through injuries, and played as many games as possible for the fans.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
And I want to make one point very, very clear. What I'm saying about the current NBA doesn't apply to every single superstar. As looking at someone like Tatum, he's one of the rare young stars in the league today who values playing every game, whether it be on ABC, TNT, NBA TV, or not televised at all.
I only get to go to Charlotte 2 times a year. Somebody paid their money to come watch me play. Like, not trying to be arrogant, and like it's a bunch of kids in there, my shoes and my jersey. And just because we playing Charlotte on NBA League Pass on a Monday, but ain't nobody watching it, I'm chilling tonight. That's not what the great players, the best players do.
Now, Tatum's comments right there, for a lot of the younger NBA superstars, a lot of them believe the exact same thing. Guys like Edwards, Luka, SGA, even Jokic and Giannis, kind of the older stars of that era. These guys don't have the entitlement mindset of a lot of the older NBA stars. Guys like LeBron, Harden, Kawhi, and especially a Paul George. What the NBA needs desperately is an attitude change from their stars. And I think that new era of players, they're going to bring a fresh new attitude we haven't seen in quite some time. And once again, looking back at that past era of players, someone like Paul George, he boils my blood. This guy on the court, rarely if ever healthy, and the playoffs, an absolute disaster.
George, way off. It's the side of the backboard.
Ball game.
In a lot of ways, George kind of a poster child for the modern NBA star. As looking at all the stops in his career. Indiana, happy at first, got angry, forced his way out, got his way. Okay, fine. Went to OKC, choked in the playoffs, got a big-time contract. Then, very shortly after, betrayed them, went to the Clippers. Then, of course, with the Clippers, lots of hype expectations, again, didn't deliver on. So what happened? He left yet again. Paul George's overall career is kind of the archetype of the modern NBA player. They get praise, get tons of money, don't play their injuries, eventually underachieve, get mad, then leave. So that right there is the end of the video, and my final point, these current day NBA stars don't know how good they have it. Massive contracts, overinflated contracts, first class flights, facilities, training, they've got it all. And still time and time again, they complain, just kind of act like crybabies, and simultaneously downplay past eras that had it much, much harder. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.